Welcome, everyone. We still have a few minutes to go, so before the official part begins, I just wanted to greet you on behalf of Leader Impact Europe, and I'll tell you a little more about the organization and movement itself a little later. But for now, I just wanted to test your digital skills. It's been a year of a pandemic, and some of us probably are zoomed out completely. But as they say, the population of the Earth can be split into two camps, digital natives and digital immigrants, those who are just using computer so easily and those, who have trouble with it. So just a little test for you right now is to find the reactions button in your Zoom and just click reaction, whatever reaction you feel like is appropriate for you at the moment. How do you feel today? How has your day been going? Just quick reaction. Okay, somebody's just smiling. Somebody's just like, wow, what is that? Somebody's greeting. That's awesome. Well, I don't see all of your responses, but I do see some of your responses, and not many of you are responding. So, do we have more digital immigrants here today with us? Again. Try to persuade me otherwise. Show some responses, show some reactions. Again, for those newcomers who just joined us, I'm just giving a little test to all the participants to see how everyone is versed in Zoom. So if you can find a reaction button and tell me how your day is going, that'll be awesome. So, okay. I don't see that many responses, but it's all right. Maybe the day hasn't been that great for some of us. But hey, some people are responding. So thank you, those of you who responded. That's great. Again, welcome to Leader Impact event. I welcome all the leaders from Central and Eastern Europe, and I welcome you at the event that is called Let's Talk, presented by Leader Impact Europe. My name is Artyom. And I'm from Ukraine, and today it is my privilege to be your MC. But I'm not responsible for the technical part, so if anything goes wrong, we'll blame it on somebody else, not on me. So, but at the beginning, let's take a moment to kind of introduce ourselves to each other, okay? So let us know where you're from. So in a chat box, if you could put the city and the country where you're from, that would be awesome. Tirana, Albania, welcome. Zagreb, Croatia, excellent. Skopje, Macedonia. And I'm sorry if I mispronounce your names of the cities. Okay, Albania, Tirana, Kiev, Ukraine, yay. Canada, Czech Republic. I don't read that quick. Okay, Ukraine, Lviv. Welcome everyone. And Warsaw, I saw Warsaw. Albania, excellent. Zagreb, Croatia, Lviv, Ukraine. Okay. Kyiv, not Kiev. Yes, that's correct. Kyiv. Macedonia, Skopje, Tirana, Albania. Well, welcome everyone. It's always a pleasure, at these meetings to see people from so many different countries. And, that's one of the exciting parts of Leader Impact movement. Because it is a global movement, actually. Today, we have representatives from Eastern Europe, but Leader Impact exists globally. And our mission is to help leaders continue with their professional, personal, and spiritual growth. So we help leaders to sharpen their skills by sharing their best practices from their lives and businesses. So we basically sharpen each other. And especially in these difficult times, times of pandemic and, all this crisis, economic crisis, etc., we offer a place to exchange ideas. And we hope to provide connections among business owners and leaders across Europe. We hope that these conversations will lead to both deeper friendships among you and you'll be able to develop really practical ideas that will help you lead your business into the future. So as you noted, I'm speaking English, and the presentation is going to be in English. So if you want to stay with English, do not click on anything. Just stay in this channel where you hear me right now, and you'll be continuing with English. Now, if you need a translation, and I understand there are going to be two countries or two languages for translation, Czech and Ukrainian. Now, in Zoom account, if you're using the computer as I do, at the bottom of the image, you will see a globe icon, and you will see interpretation. So if you would like to listen to Ukrainian interpretation, you choose Ukrainian. If you like to hear the translation into Czech, then you choose Czech. Albania, Macedonia, guys, you're all going to listen to English, or so I was told. So if anybody is not happy with that, talk to your leaders. So again, welcome to our event. So now a few more technical instructions. One of them is that if you would like to see the speaker at the top of the screen, at the top right corner, I believe, you can basically switch between the speaker view and everybody view. But if you would like to see the speaker and the and the whole presentation, then speaker view would be better. Now, also very, very important point today for you is to understand that our event will consist of two parts. First part is actual presentation. We'll hear from our presenter, and actually also, if you would like to ask questions, please put them in a chat window, and at the very end of the presentation, we will have a chance to ask some of your questions, if there are many. Unfortunately, we will not be able to ask all of your questions, but some of the questions we'll select and ask them of the speaker. Now, presentation is just part of the journey. The second part is discussion of the presentation, and I believe personally that it is as good for you as the presentation itself. So basically, you will get to meet people from your country and discuss the ideas presented today to you with your peers from your country to see how they are applied, how they can be applied to your part of the world. Because of course, different countries have different context, and it'll be interesting to hear how your peers and how you view the ideas and how these ideas impressed you personally. So please, if you're from Albania, Croatia, Czech Republic, Macedonia, Moldova, Romania, and Ukraine, there are going to be separate links to another Zoom meeting. You see, usually there are so many people that we can't really accommodate all of them in one group where we can split them in many other groups. So there is going to be a separate link to your discussion group. So please make sure that you note that link, copy that link, and then at the end of the presentation, at the end of the Q&A, we really would like to encourage you to click on that link and continue on with the discussion. Okay? So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our speaker, our guest speaker for today. His name is Bogdan Goncharov, and he is from my home country, Ukraine. Actually, in fact, I met Bogdan, oh wow, over 20 years ago for the first time when we actually spent some time together, was in 1996, 1998, those years. Yeah, we're that old. But basically, he was a student at Ukraine Bible Institute, and I was an interpreter there. So we basically spent 2 years together where I was interpreting, he was listening. But now he lives in Canada, and he probably speaks better English than I do. So my next encounter with him was 10 years or so later after he graduated. And at the time, I was running a small nonprofit, and I needed some printing job done. And I knew that Bogdan had his company, and he was doing printing jobs. So I sent him the order, and then I remember how he went out of his way to help me simply because I was not a great designer and didn't have enough, much money to pay for the design. So whatever I sent him, the template that I sent him, it wasn't great. So he was very kind to involve his designers to redesign my design and didn't charge me for that anything. And kindly told me that I shouldn't be going to design myself in the future, so which I did not. So thank you, Bogdan. So, and today he is going to talk to you about sales and negotiations in crisis. Again, I will allow Bogdan to introduce himself in greater detail. So welcome, Bogdan. It's a privilege to have you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Artem. Everybody hear me well? Can you please put plus in the chat if you do? And I'm going to start presenting. This is my presentation. Can you see my screen? Can you see my presentation? Not my notes though, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, hi everyone. Love to see you all, especially some names of old friends or old friends. They're not so old, but still. Yeah, I'm really glad to see you all. And I want to start saying that the name you're using, it's quite a strange thing for me to hear my name saying that you are saying my name Bogdan as it is in Ukrainian, because I got used to listening to someone who's calling me Bogdan most of the time, and it's a little bit different from Ukraine. So, and I want to start with name. Actually, it's one of the things I feel important. What I call Canadians and United States customers, they sometimes call me Bob, and I used to correct them all the time and thinking, hey, my name is not Bob actually. But then I actually stopped caring that much, because eventually you're going to see my email with a signature in it. But what I'm trying to say to my customers and to you all, that name is something important. And for example, many immigrants who move west, they change their name intentionally. They try to present themselves more like a westernized people, Western names instead of, I won't give any examples, but you know the idea, you get the idea. So they intentionally change their names, and it makes people ask questions. Why? Don't you like yourself, your own name? Are you trying to pretend to be someone else? Or can I trust you? Can I do business with you? Can I don't know, cooperate with you in any way? And in sales and in negotiations, it's probably the most important thing: your reputation, your name, your image. Anyway, it's a huge honor to be presenter today, because I know quite a few guys who's running this project for many years have never thought I would be presenter of any kind in this kind of project. So I'm thankful, and I'm thankful to everybody else who is in the chat room watching this. Yeah, I truly delighted to present you some ideas and just share my story. If anything valuable you would take from this presentation, I would love you to remember this phrase: be like God, who cares, who always creates something new, and who's in control. Let me start with a brief introduction. You don't have to read all that, but in case you would watch it again or send it to someone else, they would understand who am I and why I'm sharing my story. Yep.
Вибач, ми бачимо твої записи. Ага.
Okay.
Great. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That's what I was asking. If you can see my nose, actually, my secret nose, my secret knowledge. Yeah, okay. Just give me a sec. I need to rearrange my, oh, someone is actually painting something on my, don't worry, it's a joke. Okay. I don't see my notes for some reason. Just a second.
Hi, Bogdan. I think if you reshare your screen and choose full screen mode,
Yes.
you will see the notes.
Yeah. Should I stop sharing? Yes, I should. Stop share. What did it say? Should I start sharing file?
Materials,
Yes.
yeah, we don't see text.
Just 1 second, guys. It's a technical issue and I'm gonna fix it as soon as I can. So I want to present you something valuable, right? Okay. Yes. This is the only way I can. Okay, anyway, yeah, I don't have my notes, but I'll try to do my best. Other way. I'll have my notes here on my smartphone. See, technology is something we have to learn how to use, right? And this time of our professional life is the time when we have to adjust. And I mean it, like it's really, like, for example, for many years, people thought that salespeople should be extroverted. And I'm not. People think sometimes that I am, but I'm not. I have my personality. I have my experience in sales. I know how to negotiate and how to sell. But at the same time, I'm not extroverted. I'm not that huge fan to be in front of the camera. I'm not that confident to speaking publicly. But now when we have this crisis, we have a pandemic, and you might think, well, I'm like you, I'm introverted. Should I just give up on sales career? Should I even bother thinking about being professional and being successful in sales? Probably not, because this time, if you are adjustable, if you are agile and you can accept the challenges and start coming out of your comfort zone and start doing something creative, like even like Zoom info, for many years I was thinking face-to-face negotiation and face-to-face sales are the best, and now for almost 4 years I'm doing everything virtually, and we probably all do. So all I'm trying to say is that with probably more than 20 years of experience, you can see on this screen, now is the time for all of us to adjust, to start doing something new. And example I wanted to share, and I remember it from my notes, that I started doing sales when I was 12 years old, helping my grandma selling tomatoes on market. And the key for my success was to learn how to bargain and to do properly. And I remember my dad was teaching me how to bargain properly using my charming talks, etc. So what I was doing, the key was at some point in time, be ready to go away from the deal. Be ready to say no. And that's sometimes a key for any type of situation in sales, any type of negotiations. Be ready to say no and be ready to go away from the table. But the only way you can do that, the only way you can be confident that you have the moral right to do that, if you did everything from your side the best, if you provided the best solution, if you showed them respect, if you understand, in your opinion, with a confirmation from the customer that you understand their needs perfectly, then you can at least pretend that you're willing to let it go. And why this is so important? Because it leads us to the second point, probably the first most important point in my presentation, is to genuinely and sincerely care. And you might think, well, it's a good to say for a guy who lives in the Western world and is not probably in that kind of a competitive environment. But trust me, like this guy on the picture, Gary Vaynerchuk, as well as I am, we are immigrants. For us to get success is something unbelievable, right? So, and I can say, like, I love this guy, and I chatted with him as well, and he confirmed that we had no precondition for our success. Not rich, not fancy, not very talented, nothing was something that we can think of, something that made us successful in any way. But genuine care for people, genuine interest in people makes you be willing to say, yes, I did everything right. I did everything I could to understand my customer, to learn what exactly do they need, and to provide them with the best solution they can ever have. So when I say think of others first, serve them and love them genuinely, I don't say it just like an abstract construction. I mean it. And one more example I want to say, I want to tell you that just as a personal thing, I love jujitsu. I don't know if there's anyone in the chat that does martial arts or any kind of a martial type of sports, or used to do when you were kids. But that's just an example how competitive we might be, we could be, and I am. At the age of 38, when we moved to Canada, I guess we just got a little bit better work and life balance. I got back to sports, and you have a choice here. You can do, I don't know, running, and I know our Tom loves cycling, right? Some sort of just not offensive type of sports, I would say. But in my case, I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to challenge myself hardly. Right? If you want to get success in something, do it like 100%. So I choose the most brutal sports you can choose, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and for the last 4 years, I guess I got some results in that kind of sport. So I am competitive, and we all are, and we are in sales and in negotiations, but it doesn't mean that you have to be rude. It doesn't mean that you have to be competitive to that point that you are not willing to give up. Sometimes I hear, oh, don't take no for the answer. Yes, correct. I'm not willing to just give up easily. But what I'm trying to say is be ready to get to the point where you can say, yes, I did everything I could, and results are just not mine. There's a competitor who's winning the deal. What can I do? Go away. So think of other people as well, not just your customers. I'm thinking about my team. I'm thinking about my co-workers, my people that I'm coming to work with. When I'm thinking about taking care of people, I'm not thinking about only customers. Take care of people around you. We're working in the office almost. Not in the office right now, maybe some of you working from home, but I mean, we're still working within teams. And what I'm trying to say is that we have to take care of each other because we work together as a team and we supposed to take care of each other. If I'm not taking care of my co-workers, my teammates, we're not going to win. And I'm not a huge fan of team sports, as you can imagine, doing jiu-jitsu. But I love Olympic type of sports. When you represent country, within a team, doing everyone your job, but you represent your country. The same thing works in the office environment. When you work somewhere and you have a team, be conscious of representing them as well. Not just your employer, not just your business, but your team as well. So take care of them, take care of your customers, and honestly, I would say take care of your competitors as well. Don't be the guy who says bad things about competitors. I'm trying to be very polite, not to say anything bad. How sometimes people talk about competitors, like usually in sales, we use bad words about our competitors. We represent ourselves like we are the best, but competitors are probably not the best. What I'm trying to say, be polite always, because it influences your image. It makes you look bad if you say something bad about your competitors. Next thing I would love to discuss is creativity. And we all creative. We are all creative in many ways. Maybe not everyone is creative enough to design a book or something to be printed, but we all creative in our office environment when we sell something. Think of creativity as not exactly something out of the box, but something extra you can do, or something extra you can provide people around you. When you think about creativity as something not looking awkward or looking just unbelievably, but extra, I can give you an example. For example, selling printing equipment, usually very technical job. So I am working on a deal. I'm presenting to the customer all the features of the equipment. I'm providing them with a quote for a deal, and then we just negotiate or on the terms and conditions. We, I don't know, discuss any features they might need, but it's really hard to be creative in that kind of environment. So for me to suggest from the beginning something extra they might think of, like for example, if I'm talking to the guy who is in a rural area somewhere in Texas and I'm selling a couple of machines to a small family business, I might ask, hey guys, do you have smartphones? Are you using smartphones in your office? Are you using laptops? Are you working from home? So you might benefit from having Wi-Fi on your printing equipment, right? You might benefit from having a wireless connection so you can move those printing devices whatever you wanted to move them. And I can offer those Wi-Fi kits for free. People love something for free, don't they? So it's nothing for me. Like I'm thinking on their behalf that they might benefit, and I'm offering something extra without doing anything. But this is kind of creativity I'm talking about. Okay, so if you and for example, something completely different. For example, we all are using LinkedIn, don't we? Like, if you are not using LinkedIn, I would suggest please do go and register and start using it, because it's an amazing tool to connect with your teammates, with your customers, prospect, anyone you might find in your area or in your industry. And when we use LinkedIn or any other tool to present our ideas to the world or to the customers, we might think about thanking people. first. Instead of asking for something, instead of taking something from them, we might provide them with something extra. Like, for example, there's this tool in LinkedIn called Kudos. It's something very unique. It takes about 2 minutes to send a message to the public that I'm thanking one of my colleagues for helping me last week with a deal. But what that makes connection, that makes something, that creates connection that we cannot replicate. People are glad, people are simply joyful and happy to see that I'm thankful and I do it publicly. So those kind of things I'm thinking about creativity, okay? And if you think of anything else, just share in the chat how else you can be creative and provide something extra to your customers, to your colleagues, to your workers, even to your boss. I mean, sometimes we think, oh, if I do something good to my boss, he might think something wrong is happening. But no, sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes it's just a good thing to do. Say thanks or provide something they like. That's kind of thing I'm talking about. And now I'm going to share with you a short story that I already shared on a video for Alexei. And yeah, that brings some really good memories about my trip to Chicago. I always tell my kids, hey guys, don't bring problems to me, bring solutions. And this story is exactly the example of that kind of approach. So now last year, no, it wasn't last year. It was in 2019, in September, I guess. I went on a business trip to Chicago to visit my partner, who is in the picture on the left. And we spent a wonderful week working with his team and discussing all the approaches we're going to use to the targeting customers and key accounts. And we spent a wonderful week working together. And then I realized that the same weekend, there's this huge printing event called Print 19. I couldn't resist, of course. I love those kind of events. It's an industry event, so I had to visit. And for those in Europe, and you guys are in Europe mostly, I saw the guys from many European countries. You know what Drupa is, right? Drupa is probably the largest conference or fair for printing industry in the world, once per 4 years. That kind of thing happens in the United States as well. So I went there, but my goal, my purpose for the visit of that particular event was not just to have some fun, but to thank my partner, provide them with something I had in my mind when I discovered that this event is happening. So something is not on mute. Someone is not on mute. Can you please go on mute? Thank you. So yeah, I went there on Saturday early in the morning, and I took some pictures with big bosses and started to work on my project. I wrote a couple sentences just thanking Chris for inviting me, to having me for that whole week, paying for everything. He was a blessing for me, right? And I wanted to thank him. So I tagged every single big boss in that conversation. I put pictures, I wrote a huge thankful post and posted in LinkedIn. And guess what? Yeah, in a couple hours, I've got probably like 10,000 views related to that event, with a tag of that Print Expo. And the result of that was that they just didn't believe that that happened, because Chris got probably about 20 or 30 friends requests in 1 hour. He got 3 or maybe even 4 deals. And he got, on next Monday, he got a couple guys visiting him in the office, talking about upgrading their printing equipment. What I'm trying to say is that kind of creativity, that kind of creation of solution you might think of, you need to think about. You need to approach today's world, today's business with something new. We usually use LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram for consuming content. We usually spend so much time just scrolling and listening to influencers and watching YouTube videos and consuming. But what we have to start doing, coming out of our comfort zone and start doing something unique for our customers, for our colleagues, for our bosses, for our even competitors. I don't know, maybe there is a way to have a conversation, how to develop the market, how to develop the industry. And for example, Xerox, where I'm working at now, is the leader in that. You might be surprised, but Xerox was the one who created the mouse, and Xerox was the one who created the user interface and shared with everyone else. That was something Xerox gave up, right, to create something for everyone, not to benefit just for ourselves, but to provide market with. So yeah, if you have any other idea how to create value for your customer, maybe, I don't know, just simple gesture of sending message to your customer saying thank you for the order, sometimes worth it. That's the point. And third thing, I love this guy. Jocko Willink is one of my influencers. I know that you might think, well, it's not the best guy to quote, because he sometimes uses strong language, and Gary V as well, actually. But I'm focusing on the content, on the idea he is representing. And his idea, he's actually ex-Navy SEAL. He has transitioned from Navy SEAL career to business world with a consulting approach. He's consulting big business and the small businesses as well, how to develop order in the business. And one thing I want to say about him, it's that he's the example for me, how to control, how to take ownership of everything that is going on in my life. And in sales, if you are in sales, I guess you might be connected to sales somehow if you're on this webinar. We lose a lot, right? We don't win every single time. We'll lose quite a few. I just lost a huge deal last month, and it's painful. Yeah, people don't realize how much work and effort you put in, time you put into deal to prepare for the deal, and then to negotiate, and then to work with the customer, and then to face all the objections, and then lose. And yeah, and especially for salespeople who are commissioned, it's your life, right? You're working to provide. So this guy, he's an example for me, and his approach is it's called total ownership. So everything is my mistake. Everything, every win is mine, but every lose is always mine. And what I'm trying to deliver with this message to you guys, that you don't have to win every single time. You don't have to. Yes, we are competitive. Yes, we are in sales. Yes, we are in negotiations. That it's supposed to mean that we have to win, and we have to do our best to win. But when we lose, we have to accept our loss as a learning lesson. We have to be ready, as I said in the beginning of this webinar, to go away. And the way to do it, I'm going to share with you just in a moment my personal approach to every single loss I have is this. When I lose the deal, I am asking my customer to give me a chance to win again in a year. And the way I'm doing it, I'm asking something like, hey, yes, I realize you decided to go with that decision. It's completely okay, understandable. You have the choice. But what would you say if I give you a call in the year? Just to check how are things, just to chat. Maybe for some reason you would be interested to talk to me, and I'd love to provide you with expertise, with anything you might need. And the ratio is 99% they agree. 99% they simply say, yeah, of course, no problem. What that means that you keep building relationships, you keep doing sales cycle, you keep negotiating, you're just extending it in a year, in a 2, in a 5. And that's in my opinion, that's the best way to do sales. Even if you lose, you keep doing it. Even if you lose, you keep learning. Because even if in a year I'm going to call them and they say, hey, we don't need anything yet, I'm going to ask them if they have any problems, if they have any issues with the current provider. So if I call them in 2 years, I know what to talk about. I know the pain points. I know the struggles they had before. So that's my approach. If you have any other suggestions, any other ideas how to lose properly, go ahead and share. I'd love to listen because we'll lose a lot in sales. And this is the way not to lose. This is my way to win. Position yourself for success. And why I'm using this rare naked choke picture is because this is the most offensive position you might end up in jiu-jitsu. And this is my favorite actually position, not to be the white one, but to be the gray one. Because in this case, you control everything. You don't have to choke him out, but you can if you want. That's the way to approach sales as well, or negotiations. You plan everything ahead. You do your homework. You prepare for every step of your sales cycle. You do everything to put yourself in a position where you are in control. You might end up not being in control. You might end up in losing that position. Yes, of course, they can escape, kind of. But you do your job. You do your thing. And the way I'm approaching sales, and especially now when it's almost everything is virtual, I'm going to leave you with this practical tool. Everybody in sales probably know what cold calling is. Холодные звонки. It means that we are approaching non-customers or even customers with a cold approach when they don't expect us to call them, when they don't expect to receive any type of email from us. So the best way, in my opinion, to approach that and make that cold call a little bit warmer is to prepare my customer or non-customer for my call. So I always do it the same way, and it works perfectly. I send them a very informal, short email saying something like this. Hey guys, I got your email from such and such, finding someone connected to them on LinkedIn. I was wondering if you would take a call later this week to discuss this. That's it. Nothing else, just simple, informal email. And then when I call them in a couple days, or I email them again, I can always refer to that first email. And now that makes my second email, my second call, my anything else, like even LinkedIn message, I can always refer to my first email. That's a simple tool that makes life of salespeople easier. Trust me, just test it. I would love to hear your feedback even after this presentation. If it's recorded and then posted on YouTube somewhere, please, in comments, just say something about it, if it's working or not for you, because it works every single time for me. When I call my non-customer in a couple of days from that email, they say, yeah, I remember that email. Yeah, and that makes connection. That makes that now I'm in control. That's basically all I wanted to say about the sales, because sales, it's technical, but very interpersonal. And I can share a lot of stories and a lot of expertise, I would say, right, about how to sell. But I wanted to share some thoughts on how to approach sales, not just technical aspects, but some, I don't know, mindset, I would say, right? Be caring, be creating solutions, and be in control. And to end my presentation, I'd love to use these two quotes from my favorite people, from Jesus Christ and from Jordan Peterson. Sorry that I compare those two in one slide, but yeah, those are two very connected quotes. Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." And Jordan Peterson went a little bit further. For those of you who do not know who Jordan Peterson is, he is a clinical psychiatrist in Canada who became very famous, I would say, very important person right now in the internet, and not just in internet. And he says something like this: who do you want to be when there is crisis? Do you want to be the person that everyone can turn to for strength? Why not? Why not that as a goal? That would be a good goal. Because when there is crisis, it won't be such a crisis anymore. Because there is someone there that can deal with it. Be that person. That's it.
Thank you, Bogdan. I really appreciate your input and investment into our lives. And again, as you were talking about crisis, I couldn't help but think about this, little incident in the beginning. And I was like, okay, well, one person would have lost his or her composure, but you stated it, you worked at it, and you dealt with it. Despite of this curveball and stuff, you were able to come through and perform and deliver what you needed to deliver. So again, that also speaks to your points. So it actually shows that you practice what you preach. So again, in a way, it was a good case study, even though it's smaller scale, much smaller scale than losing a sale. But talking about losing sales, there is one question that I see is, how do you stay encouraged when you lose a sale?
Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you for asking this.
Would somebody please mute himself or herself? Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to stay focused and stay encouraged. You simply acknowledge that you lost, and you simply acknowledge that you're not perfect. You're not in control of the outcome. You're in control of what you are doing. You're in control of how you approach customer, but you can never guarantee the outcome. That's something you rely on God, on weather, on everything. But yeah, you simply get up and continue.
Okay, thank you. So you own your success and you own your failure. Great. Yep. So another question is, how do you deal with the situations when the company's policy doesn't align with your convictions? For instance, you can't, greet someone with Christmas, but only with the, Merry Holidays or Happy Holidays. So how do you deal with all these things where there is a disconnect between your values and company's values?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, and I'm not gonna say it's the easiest question. It is hard, especially when we work virtually with everyone, every single culture, every single religion in this world, virtually connected on the same market. I would say it's really hard, but I don't have an answer for that. You know, I can only share my experience. When I greet people, I greet them I greet them as I would greet them, right? If I get in trouble, let me get out of that trouble when I got in trouble. Okay, I'm not asking for permission to greet someone according to my beliefs. I'm simply presenting myself as I am. Yeah, it's probably a little bit not perfect answer you might expect from me, but that's my approach. I'm simply doing what I believe is proper and correct. And if someone disagrees, it's okay.
Okay, thank you. Again, I personally always respect people who can say, I don't have an answer. I mean, that also speaks to the character. So really appreciate this approach as well. Okay, so the next question, and again, probably will not, okay, we have 10 more minutes, and the suggestion is to bring more interaction. So I would like to ask some of you who posted questions to actually voice them yourselves. So I would like to invite Alyona Haro, and she posted a question. So Alyona, would you ask a question yourself, just to kind of bring a new, new voice into the mix?
Thanks. You said that it's important to stay in control of everything that happens in your life. So how do you manage your emotional state when you feel like you're losing control or when you're actually not in control?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question. It's actually the question I ask myself every single day. So there are two parts of that question. And I'm asking not to laugh, okay? Because it's truly what I believe. Jesus is my savior and jujitsu is my therapy. So what I mean is that I pray every day as a Christian to get peace, but I know that I'm still flesh and blood. So I have to have the way to get rid of extra emotions, of bad attitude, of something bad that is in me, still is in me. So I go and train. So you might consider that as well. Pray, meditate on the word, on something, and do something physical. Those two things are helping me.
Thank you. Again, thank you for brief responses, because this way we'll be able to ask more questions. So Stanislav Anaprienko, could you ask your question yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Could you please tell us a story, any one in which you dealt with some difficult client?
Yeah, absolutely. About a year ago, I had a customer from a school district. I was calling her for five times, and she's not willing to answer, and she was really rude, not willing to discuss anything. And I was wondering if there's something going on in her personal life or something. And then I discovered, when she actually finally agreed to talk to me, that she was actually thinking that I'm a scammer, because she just got her bank account broken, or how do you call it? Like, something happened to her finances, bank account, and she was thinking that I have an accent, I'm someone who's trying to steal her money. So that's why she actually was not that kind to me. Let's put it this way. And then when we finally found the reason for her rudeness, she turned out to be really polite and good customer. So what I'm trying to say is that there is a reason for their rudeness and for their behavior, for being that bad customer. So if you could put a little bit extra effort, a little bit extra time to find that reason, you might end up realizing that they're not that bad.
Thank you, Bogdan. Excellent insight.
Thank you.
Now, a quick request. Could you stop sharing the screen so that we could see everyone? Because I think it's you who's sharing the screen, right, Bogdan?
Yes, I am.
So could you stop share so that we could, now we can see more faces, more people, and that's gonna be much better. So the next question is actually, how can we understand clients' needs? Can you elaborate more on that? What's the best way? What's the best way to approach in understanding?
Talk to them, ask questions. I mean, it's if you are very early in sales, you probably understand that we're not mind readers. The only way to actually get the information from person is to talk to them, to ask open questions so they don't answer only yes or no. So think about asking questions about something they care, something they struggle with. And that's the way to discover.
Excellent. Thank you. Next question. Again, I just want another voice. So Irma Shkrepa, would you mind asking your question yourself?
Thank you. In a world that emails get fully inboxed, especially when you interact with internationally with different time zones, countries, they never end up. So you think they finished, but when you get up, it's again full, which means that from the perspective of the sender, means that somehow that technique that you send your email to a prospect early in the morning or on Monday or not on Friday and stuff like that, looks that are old-fashioned, and now it's getting challengeable and tricky how to deal that email that you mentioned, that it will be sent just, I don't know, spontaneous or just informal or stuff like that, get noticed.
Subject line. In my case, I am putting something in subject line to cut their attention. So if I would suggest anything, and you have to play with it all the time. It's there's no secret knowledge how to properly how properly call your email. I mean, sometimes works to put your name, sign plus, and their name in the subject line. Sometimes I found that it's really creative to put some personal information, like for example, the most fashionable CEO, and it's just something they would never expect from a prospecting email. And the way you describe why would you call your email, what would you put the subject in the line, is that you really liked, for example, how they look on their professional LinkedIn picture. And it's really working. I mean, you have to be a little bit creative, sometimes a little bit bold, and yeah, that's my approach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bogdan. And one more question. While we have many more here, I have to take the heat and choose a question. So I'll choose the one that, you know, I liked. And how do you handle cross-cultural differences?
Oh, that's favorite. Yeah, just be yourself. I mean, it's hard in a way, because it's natural for us to think that we have to absorb other cultures. Like, for example, for me as an immigrant, it was a thing I was thinking, yeah, I probably have to learn how to deal with things as Canadians would deal with things. But then I realized, no, I'm not going to get rid of my accent. Never. I'm not going to get rid of my smile, this type of smile. I'm not going to become really excited about things they are excited. I'm not going to learn enough about hockey, football, they call it football, by the way, or anything you might think of being part of they growing up, they think about things differently, and it's okay. It's completely okay. I have to respect that. I have to respect them. I have to love them and care and provide them with creative solutions. But I have to respect myself as well. I have to care about my needs too. And that's just how it is.
Thank you very much, Bogdan. It was very, very informative and very insightful. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot one last time. So what would be a conclusion you'd like to leave us with? You know, maybe a single statement, something like the most important. If we remember just one thing from this webinar, what would you like us to remember?
Care more. Care more. That's the only thing. People, especially in Eastern Europe, in ex-USSR countries, they think that if we are not strong, if we are not selling from the powerful negotiation position, if we're not presenting ourselves as we are never going to give up, that's the way to win. It's not. The way to win is to care and show them that you care.
Okay. Well, again, thank you very much, Bogdan. Ladies and gentlemen, Bogdan Goncharov, we, again, are very grateful for your time and your wisdom. So now we're going to move to the second part of our meeting, our time together. In the chat box, you just saw the links for respective countries. Please, at this moment, as I'm speaking, copy these links and paste them in your browser, because once this meeting is done, they probably will disappear off your screen and you will not be able to follow on the links. So copy them or just click on them once we're done, and it should take you to the this next meeting. Now, if you're joining us from countries that don't have special country meetings, you just sit tight and you will have an opportunity to get acquainted and discuss the webinar right where you're at. Okay. So again, thanks for being with us. Thanks for staying with us. And thanks for joining our country groups. So we're looking forward to see you just in a moment in our discussion groups. So, and please subscribe to Leader Impact, whatever messaging boards, you know, Facebook groups or whatever you use to follow Leader Impact, because we may have some great speaker next time in a month or so again. So thank you very much. Please click the links and follow the steps to join the country groups. Thank you and have a good discussion time.
Thank you, guys. See ya.